4.2 example number 4, it says the figure shows the portions of ultraviolet UV rays reflected by 4 different surfaces, so grass, sand, seafoam, and water. How many times more UV rays are reflected by water than by seafoam? So we actually can eliminate some of these things. We're only looking at the seafoam and the water. The diagram shows that seafoam reflects 25% of UV rays and water reflects 21/25 of UV rays, which we can see here. So first, what we're going to do is we're going to write both of these as decimals because we need to get them both in the same format so that we can divide them. We can't divide across different forms of numbers. So we're going to take this percentage of seafoam, which is 25%. Oops. 25%, and we are going to write it as a decimal. So to write 25% as a decimal, remember we place a decimal at the after the ones. We move it 2 times to the left because we're dividing by 100. We place it there and take away the percentage symbol. So that ends up being 0.25, which is 25 hundredths. Water is at 21/25. And we need to have this as with the denominator of a power of 10. So I know that 25 goes into 100, so that would be my best option. If I do 25 times 4 to equal 100, then 21 times 4 is 84. And then I'm going to convert that. Since I already have it in the hundreds place, I can just put a 0 and then write an 84 because it ends up in the hundreds place. So 84 hundredths, we can say that either way. So this is 84 hundredths and this is 84 hundredths. Now what we're going to do is we are seeing how many times more UV rays are reflected by water than seafoam. So we are going to come back up here and we have to divide to see how many more times the water is reflected by water than seafoam. Sorry about that. So I have 84 hundredths, and I have to divide that by 25 hundredths because we're seeing how many more times the UV rays reflect off the water than the seafoam. When I do this, I know I cannot have a decimal in my divisor, so I move it 2 times to the right. I multiply it by 100, so that means I have to do the same thing here, 1, 2. So now I end up with 25 as my divisor, and I end up with 84 as my dividend. So 25, how many times does it go into 84? I know it goes in there 3 times and it equals 75. When I subtract, I end up with a 9 here. And that would be my remainder, but we know that we put a decimal here, we add a 0, and we bring it down. 25 goes into 90 again 3 times and it equals 75. When I subtract, I get 15. I have to add another 0 because I cannot have a remainder anymore. And 25 goes into 150. Well, I know it goes into 104 times, so then it goes into 156 times. And that would be my final answer because 25 times 6 is 150. I end up with 0 as my remainder, and 3 and 36 hundredths is my answer. So how many times more UV rays are reflected by water than by seafoam? The answer would be it is reflected 3 and 36 hundredths times more by water than by seafoam.